Hi, Nigel here with the Drivewire, and this is the 21 Chevy Silverado Crew Cab LT four-wheel drive All-Star Edition Plus. That's a lot to say. So that's an additional package, the All-Star Additional Plus. I'll go into those details in a second. This one starts at $45,700 but has $8,420 of options on it. Now obviously those include the front and center Z71 package. It's got skid plates, it's got twin tube shocks, it's got a heavy duty air filter, a 2-speed transfer case, and some pretty nice polished aluminum exhaust tips at the rear. What's the All-Star Edition Plus? Well, it's $1,900, and for that you get a rear sliding window. You get Apple Play and Android Auto, but wirelessly. It's also got a rear vision camera, it's got voice recognition, and it has these quite nice 20-inch wheels with these semi-all-terrain tires. All in all, I kind of like the Silverado. It's a good looking car, and I particularly like this color. The real reason I like this car so much is because it has the only engine that any of these trucks should really have from Chevy. Actually, I would also include all Suburbans, all Tahoes. Across the board, they should have this engine. There's a little bit of a clue on the hood. It says Duramax. So yeah, the clue is in the name. The Duramax is obviously a diesel. This is a turbo diesel. It's a 3.0. It's probably one of my favorite turbo diesel engines out there. I think it's probably on a par with what Ram can offer. It's got 277 horsepower, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it has 460 foot-pounds of torque. That is exactly the same as you get in the 6.2 liter V8, only that has catastrophic fuel economy. This will get around 24, and if you really stretch it on the highway, you might get 26. Of course, all that torque is really good for towing. This will pull 9,300 pounds. If it was a two-wheel drive one, it would pull 9,500. So that's pretty damn good. This engine is this engine is driven through a very good 10-speed automatic transmission, which was co-developed with Ford, but Ford doesn't seem to know how to program it. So Chevy seems to have got that programming perfectly. I wouldn't get any other engine. The 5.3 doesn't have enough torque, maybe 380 some foot-pounds. It feels sluggish, it just doesn't have the power. But this is great. It's got the fuel economy, it's got the torque that you need, it's super smooth, it's a really nice drive, and Chevy has done a great job with this car. Now you do have to pay a little bit extra. Depending on the type of vehicle, Chevy charges different prices for this diesel. This one's $2,390. I would spend that every day. One small thing you have to remember with these diesels is obviously make sure to put diesel in it, not regular gas, and you have to put this AdBlue additive in here, and there's a warning on the dash that tells you when it's getting close to empty, and for this reason you have to carry a box of AdBlue around with you in the back in order to top that up from time to time. Speaking of, there's my box of Blue Def that came with the tester. It's actually got a ton of room in it. Can't complain. Room in the middle. You've got AC vents, heating vents in the back. You've got some regular 12-volt power and 2 USBs. Can't complain about that. They're decently comfortable, and obviously tons of legroom in the back here. And then one feature that I really like, I don't know if anyone else is doing this, but if you could open up the back of the seat and have a look in here, you got some storage space in here for stuff behind both of the rear seats. I kind of like that. Easy to close. And then this comes down and provides a couple of cup holders and maybe some space for your phone in the middle. Storage space, simply lift up the seat and you've got a bunch of storage space here. What it doesn't have is the storage space under the floor that the Ram has. Maybe that's something they could think about, but yeah, it's missing that additional storage space under the floor, but there's definitely room to store stuff, and both of these seats will lift up. This one has the optional multifunction tailgate. Jury's out as to whether this one is actually better than the Ram version, which opens like this and down like this. I kind of like how this one operates, and you can operate it from the key fob. Simply press this one twice. It comes down. $445 if you want to buy this particular step. And it's pretty easy to put back up again. And there's two buttons here. One will open the gate, and then the bottom one, and then that one opens that. Simply push a button here, and there's your step. You can hop right up into the bed. Also, handily, it has these steps on the side if you don't need to open the tailgate. We close this real quick, and then open it again. On the side here, you've got this handy little handle to help you get up into the bed. And then that folds neatly down. The only other option on this is the protection cover, or bed liner as we call it, for $600 plus that you can add onto this particular car. All in all, it works pretty good. All right, so here we are in the front of the Silverado, and not a bad place to be. Comfortable seats. My only issue is this one has the $1,900 leather package. It's leather faced. It's not full leather seats. I think for $1,900 I expect full leather seats. That means that this section right here and the section right here is plastic. I find that a bit of a miss, but hey, that's just me. Other than that, pretty nice, comfortable. This one has electric adjustment. This is an LT, so that one is manual. And this one has the option of the center seat right here. I wouldn't option this because I want more room in the center console. Makes this a little bit less deep. You've got a couple of little storage spaces here and two decent sized cup holders, as well as a decent cup holder in each of these doors. So Chevy's center console infotainment screen is actually pretty good. It's pretty fast. It's really easy to use. I would prefer a larger screen than this. It's a little bit small. It functions well. You've got your trailering options right here, so you can start doing different tests, make sure your lights are working, your turn signals, etc. I don't have a trailer, so I can't go much further with that one. And then you've got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay as standard, but they're wireless, which is kind of cool. Wi-Fi hotspot as well, and then you can go into here and you can mess with all your different settings for the vehicle, collision detection systems, lighting, rear seat reminders, etc. So it's pretty easy to use. And then it has some physical buttons here. HVAC controls are super easy to use as well. And below there, you've got some park assist features, stop start. It hasn't always worked on this truck for some reason. With this one, you can lower the tailgate, traction control off, and then you've got some switches for power and also hill descent control, which is where this truck actually performs pretty well. Speaking of off-road prowess, I mentioned this one does have skid plates. It has four-wheel drive auto here, which the system decides, you know, when traction is needed, when it isn't. Essentially, it's going to run in rear-wheel drive unless it is needed. Four-wheel high, I've used that a couple of times. And then also two-wheel as well, if you want to stick in two-wheel, save some gas. And then four-wheel low for pretty tricky conditions. You've got to be in four-wheel low in order to activate the hill descent control. Ahead of the driver, you got a nice set of instruments. You can toggle through various different features. I'm on the home section right now, so that shows my speed. I can go here. Now this is a good one because this is my Blue Def Blue, AdBlue, whatever you want to call it. I have gone down 2 notches. I probably won't need to fill it up with what they supplied me for this particular test, seeing as it's going to go back in about 3 days. I should be fine, but this is a good indicator of when you need to top that up. And you can scroll through, you can look at your music, or if you scroll through here, you can see I'm averaging 19.8 miles to the gallon. That's pretty good for everything that we've done so far. That includes highway driving, that includes around town, urban driving, and then also some off-road driving that we did. All right, so the only thing left to do now is take it for a drive. I've got 273 miles of range. We're not going to go that far. Let's just see how this drives. The one thing I do like about diesels is that diesel noise. They don't make as much noise as they did back in the day. They don't have that clackety clackety clack noise. This one's really smooth. And I think when I drove the Suburban, it felt even smoother. Or rather, not smoother, but less diesel-like. Probably had more noise cancelling underneath the hood, and so too much noise doesn't come into the passenger compartment. One thing that isn't great is its composure over some smaller little bumps. It's fine on pretty smooth pavement, but its suspension does tend to get a little bit upset over the harsher stuff. And it's quick enough for anything that you would need. I don't see any reason why you would need to buy the V8. Not anymore. Even if this is a little bit more money. Actually, it ends up being cheaper than the big 6.2 liter one. And the 5.3 V8 just doesn't have the torque that this one has. This is really the only engine that you should have. It's pretty composed in the turns too. It doesn't roll too much. The suspension feels pretty good. Compliant, smooth. The ride is good. Power delivery is really good too. I mean, if you mash the pedal from a stoplight, there's no turbo lag. It just goes. Chevy can just up the interior quality. It can't be that difficult. The design's pretty good. It's functional. It works. Raise the quality and stop. It's just adding these little scratchy little bits of plastic, and it's nice and soft here, and then there's this scratchy bit of plastic right there. There's no reason for that. The problem with that hard plastic when you introduce it into the dash is, especially with a vehicle that is meant to go off-road, like this one, the Z71 package, you are going to get rattles and creaks and eventually possibly even a crack in the dash because this hard plastic is brittle. Alright, so we've reached a little bit of off-road stuff. Let's see how this truck performs. I'm not doing anything super technical here. It starts off a fairly easygoing, sort of dusty DG kind of trail, and then we'll get further up, there's some ruts and stuff. We can test the suspension. So far so good. It's pretty smooth. I have it in auto mode. I need to switch it to 4 high. Probably won't need 4 low on this piece of road. And what I like about the diesel engine is it just never feels strained. Sometimes the smaller V8 can feel strained, and especially when you're towing. It sounds like it's struggling a little bit, especially if you're going uphill, towing a decent amount. But this thing is just effortless. Usually we come up here and there's a pretty good chance of some mud and standing water, but not really so much here in August. It's going to be pretty dry, even though we've had some minor thunderstorms. Now, these are not particularly aggressive all-terrains that's got on it, but they're pretty decent tires. And I don't think there's anything that they won't be able to cope with as we climb up here. Getting a little bumpy, but we're doing all right. This is mostly dirt, small rocks. Nothing that's really too technical. And a little bit further up here, it becomes more sort of a semi-paved surface. Looks like someone paved it years ago and then just forgot about it. So bits have broken off with potholes, etc. So it's a good test. But this Silverado is doing pretty good. We're not really throwing anything really too difficult at it, but you really wouldn't want to take your Honda Accord along here. It's pretty good. Heavy with the Z71 package, but it's a pretty good job. Back onto the road. So what do we think? All in all, it's a nice truck. It isn't the best truck in my opinion. I have this weird idea that the Ram, as soon as you spend most of your time inside the truck, and yeah, we can argue about towing and all that kind of stuff. And you know, Ford again makes slightly better interiors than Chevy. Chevy needs to pick it up on the interior level. But what sells me on this car is what is under the hood. 3.0 Duramax Turbo-Diesel engine with 460 foot-pounds of torque is awesome. And without too much of a heavy right foot, you could easily average 20 to 22 miles per gallon combined. So I have to say that I have to give this car 2 thumbs up. I like it. Doesn't ride quite as well as a Ram, but this engine does it for me. So anyway, we appreciate it. Again, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe. Let me know if you have one of these. Let me know what you think. And you know, if you have a V8, let me know why you got the V8 versus the Turbo Diesel. And we'll catch you next time.